So, this took me a while. I did not anticipate this. This took me longer to finish than the first season. Now, both seasons, they both are 8 episodes each. And the first one, I really think was an amazing, you can say an excellent, almost perfection of a show. It was handled really well, the scripting, in terms of the characters, the balance between the games, the characters themselves, their stories, and what the games really did to them, the hurt, the darkness, all of that. It was done beautifully. So I was expecting it to go bigger in this one, since the first season was just that good and was perfectly balanced. Unfortunately, I gotta say, I was a bit disappointed in season two. Now, is it a bad show all of a sudden? Not at all. But the balance is completely gone. It feels like messy. It feels hard to get through compared to season one. Now, the good stuff is the characters and their drama, the relationships, the characterization is on point. That stuff is really good, and it continues into season two. There's a lot of learning they got to do, where like the real world and this world that they're in, is this the real world? What's going on? Like they're stuck and they just don't know where life is going and what they need to be, and do they want to stay here? Do they want to go back? All that discussion is actually really good. Some of the characters actually returned from season one, so it's great to see that. And the stories, like, they continue in a okay way, and that's where some of the negatives also jump in. So I like the characters, they were good. But what I didn't like is kind of everything else, and it's mixed. It's like at times this show really hits the highs. It's going and it goes and goes, and you're like in it. Especially like the first game that they play, there you're like, wow, I'm learning a lot. There's the philosophy, there's like the talk about life and what you need to be, and the characters what they need to be. Arisu, like the main character, like what he needs to be, and there's discussion with like the opposing team, and you see some parkour and there's some good stuff. And then sometimes the show just switches on itself, and you have a game that you are like, okay, I want to see these characters that are amazing, and I want to see what's going on, and it's just flashing by. Then I want to be giving out spoilers because it still is worth a watch, but it's extremely unbalanced. And at other times, you have characters that are like, okay, you died, and then they come back, and they're like, okay, okay, now you're done. Oh no, then you come back, and then you're like, okay, now they're done. Okay, no, they come back, and then you're like, now you're done. Oh no, they come back, and other times it's like, wait, that person was done like that and they're gone, but that person was shot like that, they're still alive. From what? And it's just, where are the boundaries? And that times, like, it just feels messy. There's times where characters will go on a mission on their own. They're trying to find the truth, and they're showing this adventure, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, oh, they're back, and then they meet up, and then now they're into the next game. And okay, what was the point of all of that? Oh, nothing comes out of it. They don't discuss that with other characters. Nothing. There's no revelation or anything like that. And it's this continuing of that kind of thing, and it just feels messy. It just, one character is going to be there at one point, the next time he's in a game all of a sudden, and the game started, and you're like, okay, well, how did you reach, and what's going on here? And then there's loopholes sometimes within the action. There's a loophole in the first episode where this one character is it's a maniac. He's the king of something. He's a king card, and he's extremely physical. It's one of the worst like enemies that they've faced. He's everywhere. He's trying to run after everyone, but then at certain times he's only running after like these specific characters, and you're like, okay, how did you get to them? Why is he running out like everybody else that are out there? Is there a connection? But it's never clearly explained. And okay, well, why is nobody jumping on him? He's that physical, but you can surround him, and there's so many loopholes within that. And it feels like at the end of the day, when you watch it and when you think about it, you're like, you know what it is? There's a lot missing. And when you really think about it, it's the editing. I am 99.9% sure that this show was edited to bring it down to 8 because you can clearly see where things are missing. You'll have one scene, then you go to the next, and then characters in one place, and sometimes like all of a sudden then they're somewhere else, and then some characters alive, and then they're gone, and then they're alive again. You're like, am I missing something here? Like, and you can tell like the editing sometimes feels like that, and especially towards the second half of the show, they're building up to the answers, and that's the other thing. They're building up to the answers. They're like, okay, what is going on? What is going on? And it's pushing, the show is pushing itself to get to that point. And when it gets there, you get the answer, but you also gonna get the answer. Then you get the answer, yeah, you go get the answer. And I understand that there's like a mind game going on, but at the end of the day, when you're like, okay, now I want the answer, what is going on? You end up having not so much answers. There are probably hints here and there, but it's an answer that you deserve by the end of season 2. You deserve something like that. You don't really get that. And there is a cliffhanger, kind of, that there might be season 3. Hopefully Netflix doesn't cancel it. But compared to season 1 and how tightly scripted it was, and you felt the characters, you felt the games, here, some of the games, you feel them, and then all of a sudden, it just doesn't care. Oh, they'll just have like these cool flashbacks with explosions. You're like, I want to see that game. I want to see how these cool characters went through it. How did they beat this? And it does not. And it's all this like highs and lows that it ends up being an okay season, especially compared to the first one where it was masterful. So all in all, this season itself is just a-okay. Com- Combined with season 1, I think it's still a good show that you should watch. But this season itself, I think it was a big step down. So that's kind of my take on this series. Try to keep it non-spoilerish. So what did you all think about this one? Have you watched it yet? Have you not? Are you even interested in this? Leave a comment below. Let me know. And at that, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all soon. Until then, ta-da, a cow.